my friends, and welcome or welcome back to my channel. I felt called to come on and do a counterpart reading. So if you don't resonate with the counterpart journey, or you don't align with that or believe in it, this probably isn't your reading. So yeah, we're gonna get right into it. I felt really called to do a counterpart reading today, or a twin flame reading. So we're gonna look at the energy between you and this person. And I'm using the Neon Awakening Tarot by Spiritual Infusion 1111. So let's have a look at what's happening within this connection. And I'm going to do an energy check to make sure this is your reading. We have the Four of Swords, interesting, and I also saw the Two of Wands. So there could be no action here. We also have the Four of Swords here, and it says meditation, healing, silence, thinking, time, alone, higher level of consciousness, and we have Libra energy. And typically the Four of Swords is more of a withdrawn energy so that there can be healing. And with the Two of Wands, that's kind of the energy of waiting to move forward, or someone waiting to make a move. It's kind of like a crossroads energy. And we have the Page of Cups. Interesting. Page of Cups, there could be some inner child healing happening right now. All right, so let's look at what's going on between you and this person. And we're going to start off with tarot. So what do we need to know about this connection? We have the Tower. Oh dear. So it feels like there has been a tower moment between you and this person, which puts you into separation or a break. We have destruction, forced change, so divine intervention. It also says damage, rebuild. So there could have been a lot of damage within this connection. And yesterday during a reading, I was talking about the tower. And when you're in that tower, usually with the tower, you see two people being thrown out of the tower. And that's symbolic of the universe will give you warnings that the tower isn't stable, that there's something shaky in the foundation, or the relationship is weak. And you can either crawl out of that tower, or the universe intervenes and throws the both of you out of that tower. So there is an element of divine intervention. We also have the Five of Wands, so challenges, obstacles, fights, arguments. So you and this person there could have been a lot of damage done through miscommunications, arguments. Clearly there's blockages here, and this tower had to come down. We have the Eight of Swords. Oh dear. So Eight of Swords to me is very much like a no contact card. Mental prison, fixation, fear, anxiety, silence, alone. And what I'm hearing with that Page of Cups, with the Eight of Swords, that can also symbolize, that's Gemini energy. That can also symbolize trauma that keeps us stuck. So there could have been like childhood wounding or trauma that made it impossible to build a solid foundation with the Tower card, and perhaps there needed to be some divine intervention. There was definitely a destruction here. So I'm gonna start with, where's my little piece of paper? I'm gonna look at you first. So let's look at the viewer. So show me I feel like, oh my gosh, excuse me, bless me. You could have a blessing coming your way, my friend. You could also be trying to release energy. The fact that I just sneezed. Oh dear. So let's look at your energy. Show me the viewer. We have the Chariot. And we have the Seven of Swords. Why? I knew the Seven of Swords was going to come out right before I started this reading. I had this download that the Seven of Swords was going to come out for the viewer. Oh. So we have Aquarius energy, we have Cancer energy. So the Chariot, destiny, journey, overcoming obstacles, willpower. And we have the Seven of Swords. And it's so... I really need to have more faith in my downloads because I knew that was going to come out for the viewer and I was already thinking about it before I started this reading. And what I was hearing when I was meditating was if the Seven of Swords comes out for the viewer, it's not that you have betrayed this person. It's not that you are the deceptive one. It's not that you are the manipulative one. Oh my gosh. It's not that you're running from this connection or running from the healing you need to do, which sometimes the Seven of Swords can be someone kind of sneaking away, not willing to look at themselves. My kids are being very loud. We also have double sevens here, so that could be symbolic for someone. But I already knew that if this card came out, it wasn't about you being in the Seven of Swords energy. It's actually that you were connected to someone that was in Seven of Swords energy. And on the bottom, we have the Ace of Cups. So I feel like you were connected to someone who was embodying those Seven of Swords traits, which is what I was talking about. So someone not willing to look at themselves, someone who was running from this connection, possibly someone who deceived you, who manipulated you. Seven of Swords is like icky behavior. So this person could have been showing up in kind of like a not healthy way, not in the healthiest of ways. And with the Chariot, it feels like you are moving forward and focusing on self-love with the Ace of Cups on the bottom. I don't know if you're moving on from this connection, but I feel like my kids are so loud. They're having a good time down there. I feel like you're moving away from the Seven of Swords energy that your person was in. And I'm not here to take sides, but I already, like I said, I had a download that if the Seven of Swords comes out, it's not that you are the Seven of Swords, but you're moving away from it with the Chariot. It looks to me like you're kind of moving forward away from the Seven of Swords behavior, or the version that your person was showing up in. And you are moving into alignment with the Chariot. You're overcoming obstacles. Willpower, right? So you could be trying to have the willpower not to engage with this person and focus on your self-love. Yeah, self-love on the bottom. So, yeah, Eight of Wands is underneath that. So it feels like if you are someone who in the past either crawled out of that tower or was thrown out of that tower, divine intervention, and you were put into separation with this person, I feel like you're trying to have a lot of willpower to focus on self-love and to not reach out to this person. And it's actually, I feel like it was a lesson that you needed to learn. And now that you've learned that lesson, because counterpart or not, soulmate or not, I heard another reader say something very interesting last night, which is, it was Aso Tarot. And she was saying, Spirit does not want you to be with someone who is in that Seven of Swords energy. So you could have been divinely guided, or, you know, if this person just went silent on you, I feel like it was, or ran, I feel like it was divine intervention. And now that you are fighting the urge to, for some reason, I'm seeing the Eight of Cups. So no longer putting up with less than you deserve and having the willpower to focus on yourself and to not engage with that Seven of Swords behavior. You're actually going through rapid change and rapid growth. because you're choosing yourself, if that makes sense. All right. I actually kind of want to get 2 more for you. Let's get 2 more for you. We have the 10 of Cups. And we have the Sun. So it feels like you're seeing the light here. Yeah, 5 of Wands. So there's definitely blockages between you and this person. And I think that maybe you could be feeling, I think that's Pisces. I'm still learning the little signs. We have Pisces, Leo, and Leo energy. But I feel like you are someone who's seeing the light. Self-love again with the Sun. Truth. So it feels like you're seeing the truth of this situation, and that there's too many, I don't want to say there's too many obstacles, but that there are obstacles, there's fights here, there's blockages that are preventing you from having this 10 of Cups energy with this person. And it feels like right now you're choosing your own happiness and you're moving forward. And I always say, counterpart or not, soulmate or not, you should never wait for anyone. That doesn't mean you have to run out and like date the next person you meet, but it means not waiting around. It means keep living your life, keep investing in your hobbies, keep working on your other relationships, keep living. You should never be waiting, because that creates stagnation and blockages as well. But it feels like you're seeing the truth of this situation, that there's too many obstacles for there to be stability and happiness here right now. And you're seeing the truth of the situation, that you need to focus on your own stability, your own security. I also feel like for some of you, you're seeing the truth that you don't want this 7 of Swords, you want this 10 of Cups. You want emotional fulfillment. You want, like I said, stability, security, a lasting relationship. And if you are connected to someone in 7 of Swords energy, you cannot have a lasting relationship. You cannot build a strong foundation with someone who is in 7 of Swords energy. All right, so let's get your person's energy. Show me the person they're connected to. What? That's interesting. We have the Emperor. I was not expecting that. We also have the Lovers, and it talks about being at a crossroads. And the Lovers is not an easy connection. The Lovers connection is one that pushes you to grow. And it's also symbolic of a divine connection. We have Gemini energy, Aries energy, Leo energy, and we have the 10 of Pentacles. So right now your person is working on their stability. They could be very focused on their pentacle world. For some reason, I feel like this card is supposed to be in reverse. That's what my intuition is telling me, but I'll go over these cards and I'll talk about both. So right now your person is in Emperor energy. So you could also be connected to someone who is quite stubborn, especially with that 5 of Wands card. They could have been quite stubborn in some way. They're in this energy where they feel like they need to make a decision. The 3 of Wands talks about expansion. And I was talking about you going through rapid change and rapid growth because you're no longer choosing to be in the 7 of Swords dynamic. You know you want fulfillment. You're seeing the truth of the situation. It almost feels like there's some mirroring here because we have divine masculine energy here and divine masculine energy here. And if you are embodying divine masculine energy, which is knowing your worth, not putting up with less than you deserve, It feels like your person is mirroring that, and they're also going through some sort of expansion with the Three of Wands. And remember, when I was shuffling, I was seeing the Two of Wands, and the Two of Wands can be symbolic of needing to look at the patterns or the childhood wounding or the trauma that keeps us stuck, trauma that can be healed. And I feel like your person is starting to come out of that Two of Wands energy. So they could be very much looking at their patterns right now. There is forward movement in their energy, but it also says waiting period. So it feels like right now your person is kind of entering into Emperor energy, but not ready to come forward yet. They could be at some sort of crossroads where they're facing themselves, is what I'm hearing. We have the Seven of Wands, which talks about protecting themselves. So we also have repeating sevens here. And we have repeating tens. And tens can be symbolic of completion. So there could have been some sort of cycle that kept playing out that needed to end, that needed to come to an end. And maybe that cycle came to an end when both of you were thrown out of that tower, or there was that divine intervention. But it feels like your person is working on themselves, working on their masculine energy. With the Seven of Wands, it does say protecting themselves. And it says defensive. And that's kind of what I was picking up on with that Seven of Swords. You could have been dealing with someone who was quite defensive about looking at their shadows. It also talks about territorial, angry. So this person could be in a quite stubborn, angry, bruised ego type of energy, because maybe you said something to them, or maybe you put up boundaries, or maybe you did crawl out of that tower, or maybe you are moving on and seeing the truth of the situation. I've been hearing it a lot, taking the rose-colored glasses off. And I feel like it's triggered your person, which is kind of causing them, you're seeing the truth in them, so they're starting to see the truth in themselves. And like I said, you could have been dealing with someone very defensive. Someone's vacuuming in my house now, but anyway. We also have the Ten of Pentacles. So it does look like your person is working on their stability right now, working on being more established, especially with the Emperor and the Ten of Pentacles. But I'm also heavily getting reverse Ten of Pentacles energy, which is your person could actually be going through chaos right now that's pushing them forward. They could have a lot of external things happening in their world that is pushing them to go within. Interesting. They could have been very, they could have resisted commitment with you here. They could have been very stuck in their ways. All right. I want to see the connecting energy. What is the connecting energy? We have Death in reverse. I said it. I talked about repeating patterns. And Death in reverse is about repeating negative patterns. A resistance to change. So I feel like this is the energy you're both coming out of. It does talk about unexpected change, being hurt, that brings on growth. I'm reading the words on this card. It talks about pain. So I feel like there is hurt here, there's pain, there's been an unexpected change. Someone could have possibly unexpectedly been thrown out of that tower, and there was an ending here that's supposed to lead to transformation. This Death card talks about resisting change. So you could have been resisting change. They could have been resisting change, or could have been mirroring going on. And what I mean by that is if you were dealing with someone who was the Seven of Swords energy, you could have been resisting putting up boundaries or resisting seeing the truth of the situation now you're seeing it. And I kept talking about how you could have been connected to someone who was resisting looking at themselves and their own patterns. And death in reverse talks about repeating negative emotional patterns. So you could have had a pattern of, and it does happen with divine feminines, where they have a lot of unconditional love and compassion for someone who's hurt, even at their own expense. So you could have been showing this person a lot of unconditional love and repeating some sort of negative emotional pattern where you weren't putting up boundaries, and they could have been repeating some sort of Seven of Swords behavior or pattern. Hopefully that makes sense. That's Scorpio energy. I'm going to get one more. Connecting energy. We have the Five of Swords in reverse. That's great. That is great. That's awesome. So, and I'm not being sarcastic. It just occurred to me that I sounded like I was being sarcastic. That shows, the Five of Swords in the upright talks about mind games, deception, playing games, victory at all costs, distorted masculine energy. So that's like when people argue or someone wants to be right. We also have silence, and it's in reverse, which means, these self-sabotaging patterns are starting to be healed. There's definitely silence between you. Like I said, this death in reverse is leading to a very important transformation, the start of a new cycle. Five of Swords in reverse is about, like I said, overcoming self-sabotaging behaviors, overcoming, like if you felt they played mind games with you, because the Seven of Swords can talk about manipulation. It feels like you are starting to come out of that. And that can be quite hard when emotionally, mentally, it can really make you question yourself and put you into this energy of self-doubt. But you're coming out of that is what I'm hearing. And I feel like your person is starting to see the patterns within themselves, the things that they were resistant to change. We do have the Knight of Pentacles on the bottom. And one thing the Knight of Pentacles talks about is patience. It also talks about, it says stagnant energy. So it feels like things had to be, it's almost like this connection had to be slowed right down into stagnant energy, which is what I was saying with the Two of Wands, so that you could both look at the patterns you were repeating, so that there could be a transformation to put an end to those patterns or whatever was going on between you. We have Aquarius energy here. So I want to see how you're feeling about this person. How are you feeling about this person? We have the Moon. That's divine feminine energy. I feel like for a while you could have been it does say illusion, but it also says intuition. So for a time, Pisces energy, also Cancer energy, you could resonate, well, this is a counterpart reading and you are getting divine feminine energy coming out. You could feel like your person needs to work on their divine feminine energy. You could feel like this person confused you. They could have been very confusing. There could have been inconsistency here, or they could have just, I was talking about how when you're dealing with someone who is in that Seven of Swords energy, it can be very confusing mentally for the person on the receiving end. And if you are an empath, oftentimes empaths attract people with those types of characteristics, and empaths are so giving and loving that they kind of get stuck in a cycle with them. There is fear here, uncertainty with the Moon. So you could be feeling an uncertainty if this person, could ever show up in this Ten of Cups energy. Definitely, it's almost like I am hearing cognitive dissonance. And if you don't know what that means, you're probably better to look it up than listen to me try and explain it. But it's kind of when your head and your heart are kind of at war with each other, because you have this intuitive knowing about this person. And I have to mention that divine feminines, for a very long time, they have a soul remembrance of their counterpart. And I'm not talking about gender. So they kind of they remember intuitively their person's higher self. And they kind of hold on to that vision of that. But it's almost like your heart was telling you one thing and your mind was telling you another about this person. And it could have gotten very confusing, like a battle between your head and your heart, especially if this person was being in that Seven of Swords energy and was being like defensive, territorial. Your heart could have been intuitively, you could have been feeling like, I love this person, but your mind could have been, your Queen of Swords energy could have been kicking in saying, logically, I know this isn't right. Logically, I know that I have to put up boundaries or speak my truth or know my worth. Anyway, it's going to be one of those readings. I'm going to get one more for how you're feeling about them. How are you feeling about them? They could have made you very emotional. The Tower. Everything I said. Destruction, catastrophe, damage. Four of Pentacles. So you could have been dealing with someone who had control issues, who wanted... It does say control issues here. It also talks about stubborn, everything I mentioned over here. The Four of Pentacles, this person could have withheld love from you. They could have had a fear of commitment. They could have been giving you it says scarcity. Is that how you say that? So their energy, that they could have been really holding back from you and not opening up. With the Four of Pentacles, that is an indication that you feel like there's something about this person you can't let go. And I am doing a counterpart reading. I kind of want to look at the Tower for you. I mean, it has keywords, but it says disaster, destruction, upheaval, trauma, sudden change, chaos. The old ways are no longer useful. So however this person was showing up in the past, and the Tower also talks about the shadow attributes of the Tower talks about delaying the inevitable. So you could have seen that the Tower was crumbling, but you could have been delaying the inevitable, repeating a negative pattern where you were trying to hold it together rather than crawling out of that crumbling tower. It also talks about trauma. So you could feel like your person, they could have caused you trauma, or you could be looking at them like they have trauma that they need to heal. And there could be an uncertainty if you can rebuild with this person. You could be feeling insecure if you can rebuild things with this person. So let's look at how they're feeling about you. How are they feeling about you? We have the Two of Pentacles in reverse. Look at that yin and yang. The Two of Pentacles in reverse. Queen of Cups on the bottom. So this person could be feeling like they were very inconsistent with you. What's really interesting is the Two of Pentacles is a card that talks about cognitive dissonance, and that's what I mentioned about you. So this person could be realizing that they caused you cognitive dissonance, or they could be realizing that they did, however they were showing up in a way that kind of, was unhealthy for you. Queen of Cups, they're seeing you as someone who's very caring, loving, intuitive, a healer, and you could have just kept, like, this person could have been very inconsistent with the Two of Pentacles in reverse, and you could have kept trying to love them, which is kind of what I was getting at. And the cognitive dissonance between, like, your Queen of Hearts. Oh my goodness. I'm watching Alice in Borderland anyway. The cognitive dissonance between your Queen of... Why? I keep wanting to say Queen of Hearts, Queen of Cups, and your Queen of Swords. That's what I was talking about. You could have been repeating a pattern of overgiving to something that was unbalanced. So they see you as psychic, an empath. I said it. Loyal, loving, emotional. You could have been very emotional, and maybe they didn't know what to do with that. Some people... This could have been someone who, when you were, like, upset and hurting, they didn't show any kind of care. I want to look at this Two of Pentacles. Imbalance, overwhelmed, chaos. So you're both kind of looking at each other like there was chaos in this connection, that there was something unbalanced, and they're feeling like you were very giving and you were just trying to maybe help them heal. You could have intuitively seen through the Seven of Swords behavior, because a lot of the time intuitive empaths can see through that type of behavior. Neglecting partner, Two of Pentacles in reverse. So they feel like they were neglecting the love that you were trying to give them. This is actually good because it shows your person is going through some sort of expansion. They're having realizations. They're going through some sort of leveling up, you know, because they're realizing that they neglected the love that you were trying to give them. And that they weren't focused on this connection. You were focused on it, I think, but they weren't focusing on this connection. They could have been prioritizing, like, work over you. Interesting. This person is feeling very overwhelmed, and they felt like they needed to take a step back. So this person could have jumped out of that tower. How are they feeling about you? How are they feeling about you? We have Judgment. Yes! Fucking right. Yes. That's what I was kind of getting Judgment energy when I was seeing that for how they feel about you. They're realizing, I said they're going through some sort of realization that they neglected this connection. Awakening. Judgment energy. So you could have made a judgment call, put up a boundary. It does talk about confirmation from my dogs for you. They definitely want to resurrect something here with you with the Judgment card. It also says ascension, rebirth, so they could see you as someone who's ascending. I'm trying to just go through the dogs barking, but okay, they're done. Nope. This person is feeling like they do need to do a lot of self-evaluation, and you've awakened them in some way. And like I said, you could have made a judgment call here and decided to move forward with the Chariot. Very interesting. All right, let's look at their intentions. Actually, wait. I don't want to get there now. I want to look at what's challenging this connection. What is challenging this connection? We have the Two of Cups and the Knight of Swords. So definitely arguments were a blockage or a challenge here. Impulsive behavior, hurtful words. Could have been a bit of chaser energy. The Knight of Swords to me is also, or always gives me a bit of chaser energy, where the Knight of Wands gives me runner energy. So you could have been chasing this person in some way. With the Two of Cups coming out as the challenge, we talk about the shadow. We talk about the reversal of the Two of Cups. And the Two of Cups is, look at the masculine crying. That's interesting. That's interesting to me that the masculine who's on this side is crying, and I'm not talking about gender. I mean, I am when I'm looking at this card because that's clearly a man and a woman, but I never gender my readings. So Judgment also talks about reunion, by the way. So this person is having a realization that they neglected this connection. They neglected you. They neglected the love that you were trying, or the healing that you were trying to give. And they want a reunion with you. Two of Cups in reverse for the blockage is about an imbalance of energy. It's about separation. So right now, clearly you're in separation. And this was the challenge to this connection. So you could have even known that this was the challenge and they weren't seeing that that was the challenge. Like you could have said to them, I feel like the problem with this connection is insert whatever you said. And with the Seven of Wands, they could have been quite defensive and said, I don't think that's the problem. I think this is the problem. Anyway. So separation, rejection. So a blockage or challenge here could be fear of rejection. Like this person could be fearing if they come towards you, you'll reject them. You could have gotten if you have rejection wounding. If this person pulled back their energy, you could be feeling rejected. That could be a challenge for you. And I'm hearing they weren't running from you. They were running from themselves and their own shadows and their own awakening. So don't take someone else's behavior or lack of commitment as a reflection of your worth, because you're amazing. Anyway. So relationship imbalance, uneven power dynamics, miscommunication, bad communication, withdrawal. And that's what I was hearing with the Five of Swords. Not the Five of Swords. The Five of Wands kept coming out. And it does talk about fights, arguments. So does the Five of Swords. So it feels like you and this person were not seeing eye to eye on something. And there was a lot of arguments, intense arguments, I want to say, with the Knight of Swords on the bottom being a blockage. There could have been like very impulsive reactions. There could have been very intense arguments, hurtful words. Someone could have been quite aggressive with their communication with the Knight of Swords. Yeah, aggressive partner, intense arguments. And one of the blockages here is that when the Knight of Swords comes out as a blockage, you're both being called to reconnect to your inner voice. So that's probably why there's a separation here. Because when you're arguing and there's conflict and you're butting heads, you can't hear your intuition. All you can hear is your mind. All right, let's look at their intentions. What are their intentions? We do have the Six of Pentacles. Well, that's good. That's good. I don't know what's on the floor, but we have the Six of Pentacles. So their intentions are to restore balance. And you can see this person like liking something online or messaging you, being more giving. Like if you look at this image, this person is like liking every post, liking every message. We have Taurus energy with the Six of Pentacles. So their intentions, balance, reaching out, giving, receiving, sharing, generosity. And I feel like for how you felt about them, the Four of Pentacles, they weren't being very generous. So their intentions here are to have equal give and take and reciprocity, to reach out to you. They could even start by liking things, if that makes sense. We also have the We have the Page of Wands on the bottom, which is about communication. It's about sending a message. Ace of Cups. Interesting. Eight of Wands. So we do have this intention of communication. And the Two of Swords, I actually just want to grab, I'm seeing a card, just 1 minute. All right. So the Two of Swords in reverse does talk about trying to make a decision about how to come towards you, how to reach out towards you, how to send that message. And it does show that this person's intentions are to come up with a plan before they come forward. The other very interesting thing is right now this person feels like they can't come towards you with the Two of Swords in reverse. And one of the things that the Two of Swords in reverse talks about, it does mention red flags. And you could have, when I said take off your rose-colored glasses, this person could have been, you could have been ignoring red flags that you were seeing. And now that you're seeing the truth and you're seeing those red flags, I feel like this person is now seeing the red flags. And it feels like their intentions. The Two of Swords also talks about going within. So it feels like this person's intentions are to go within and reflect about this so that when they do come towards you, they can give you equal give and take and reciprocity. I'm going to confirm that. I'm going to get one more for intentions. What are their intentions? Yeah, justice. So this person, Four of Swords. So this person's intentions are to go within, to heal, to reflect, to think about all these things, to think about those red flags, and then reach out to you, make that decision, and take responsibility and accountability, and, you know, restore balance and give you an apology. We have Libra energy. I just repeated myself. We have Libra energy. So there's definitely, this person is intending on not coming towards you yet. And that's why we have the Three of Wands here. And it talks about a waiting period on this card. So this person really wants to overcome those patterns before they reach out to you. So let's see what action they're taking. And the deck that I grabbed to look at the Two of Swords was actually this deck. And on the top of the deck, we have the Hermit. So this person's intentions, I feel, are to hermit, to have, look at the three, I know these aren't the Three of Wands, but we have 3 candles here. Solitude, growth. So this person's intentions seem to be to go within and grow before coming towards you with justice. Because I feel like if this person came towards you very quickly and impulsively, the pattern would just repeat. I feel like this person does need to do some soul searching here. So let's look at what action they're taking. What action is this person taking? What action? We have the King of Wands. So bold action, Leo energy, taking control of this situation. We also have the Ten of Wands. So this person, what's this? We have the Six of Cups. No way. So you will be hearing from this person, Six of Cups for actions, and it says second chance, reigniting the past, hearing from your past person. So this person will be taking action towards you. But it seems like there's a delay here because we also have the Seven of Pentacles, which talks about a delay. So there's a delay in action because I feel like this person needs to heal something from the past. We've also got the Five of Cups here. in reverse, which is about healing past wounds. And then underneath we have the Page of Cups, which is about, I talked about inner child wounding, and you have the Six of Cups. So I feel like there is an element where this person won't take action until they heal some of these wounds. It feels like there's a delay in their actions so that they can heal this. And 10 of Wands, it's kind of like they need to hit their breaking point. But the 10 of Wands is a card that talks about there is actually progress being made here. You just can't see it. And I feel like once this person puts the effort into healing these past wounds, the trauma, the childhood wounds, that's when they're going to take action. The 10 of Wands is also about completion. So the 10 of Wands does talk about like when you've had enough of the silence, when you've, like, I'm just talking about this situation, this person is going to hit a point where they've had enough of being in separation or being silent with you. And then they pick up the Ace of Wands and take that action with the King of Wands. But to me, there seems to be a delay here in their actions with the Seven of Pentacles. So let's look at the next, from now to like 6 to 8 weeks. We're going to look at the next 6 to 8 weeks. And again, I have to stress, I'm not talking about what will happen at the 6 week to 8 week mark. I'm talking about from now to 8 weeks. So near future, 6 to 8 weeks. What is the energy? Ace of Wands. I just said that with the 10 of Wands. I told you. I told you. So in the next, that's magic. In the next 1 week to 8 weeks, I want to say this person does take action towards you. They pick up that wand. I talked about the King of Wands picking up the wand. The Ace of Wands is inspired action. It's like reigniting passion, feeling a spark again. Let's look at the, I want to get one more. One more, please. We have the Nine of Swords in reverse and the Star. So there's rejuvenated hope here in the next 1 to 8 weeks where there's a renewal with the Star, there's healing, hope being rejuvenated. So you're going to have hope about this connection again. We do have the Magician, which does talk about communication. That's Gemini and Virgo. And we have Aquarius energy. And the Nine of Swords is about healing and recovery. It's about, like, look at it in the upright. It says fear, anxiety, no action being taken. So in the reverse, it's the opposite of that. It's this person overcoming their fear, anxiety leaving. The Nine of Swords also talks about a conversation that's essential to healing needs to be had if this connection is going to move forward. So there's like an important conversation taking place. It's also someone alleviating their stress by talking about it with the other person. So I feel like this person, like I said, hits their breaking point, picks up that Ace of Wands, and wants to share with you how this is weighing heavily on them. All right then, what is your advice? What is your advice? We have the Three of Swords. So don't take this separation. Listen, do not take this separation as a rejection, is what I'm hearing. And look, we have you moving into calmer waters here with the, that's interesting, that 19 is backwards. So Six of Swords, we do have communication. We do have a tough conversation coming. So there is going to be a conversation between you and this person. But don't take this separation or this betrayal or this ending as a reflection of your worth, because it's not a reflection of your worth. It's more about this person is what I'm hearing. And it's also symbolic, like this says separation, this says no communication, and then we have communication coming in. So I feel like after a period of separation, of feeling left out in the cold, there's going to be communication here. All right. So now I'm going to get these twin flame cards. Oh, it's 3:33. It's 3:33 p.m. So the first cut I have here is triggered. Wounds coming to the surface. So clearly you and this person were triggering each other's wounds, especially with that Three of Swords. And I didn't see it in the reading, but if this person put you in a third-party situation, don't take that as a reflection of your worth either. And I know it's like easier said than done, because we do kind of jump to comparing ourselves to the third-party situation. Like, well, what's wrong with me? Why wasn't I worth choosing? We feel rejected. If there was a third-party situation, which again, I wasn't seeing, it could have been that they needed to get some karmic justice and have, however they treated you, maybe that third party needed to treat them that way. But anyway. So let's see what we need to hear. We have insecurities. So there could have been a lot of insecurities that were triggered within this connection. So I'm going to get a few cards for you. Show me the viewer. Yes! Yes! Oh, sorry. I'll get it in a minute. It fell on the floor. Yes! 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 I love it. I love it. I'm like a proud mama. Divine Feminine, your energy, growing, self-expansion. Yes. I'm so proud of you. Seriously, that's amazing. So for your energy, you do have Divine Feminine energy, Empress energy. I do not chase, I attract. I know my worth. Following your intuition, we have growing, which is giving me Nine of Pentacles energy, self-expansion. So you really are going through self-improvements here, realizing your worth. You could be learning about yourself. You could be learning about this journey. You could be learning about something that has nothing to do with this connection. You could be learning all about what went down in this connection, like negative patterns that were happening. I love it. Love, love, love. I'm going to get you one more. Listen. Oh, I knew it. I knew there was a reason I had that download before I started this reading. Like, I'm not even kidding you. I was meditating and I had a download that the Seven of Swords was going to come out for you. And I heard right away that it's not you that's the Seven of Swords. And what just came out is so interesting to me. So we have surrender and we have toxic masculine. So I feel like for a lot of you, you've surrendered a toxic masculine. Someone who couldn't match your energy, someone who is in a low vibrational energy, possibly distorted masculine energy. And you're surrendering that. You're surrendering. That's exactly what I said about that Seven of Swords in the Chariot. You are surrendering that Seven of Swords energy. You're seeing the truth of that Seven of Swords energy, the truth of the toxic masculine, the truth of the low vibe energy. And you're surrendering it and trusting the process, which is to be that divine feminine and work on self-expansion. Very powerful. And that's why I was saying that kind of threshold that you're on causes rapid change and rapid growth. Surrendering a toxic masculine. Walking away, letting go for now. Letting go for now and trusting the process. So let's see what comes out for your person. Yes, yes. Yes, we have changes, evolving to make things better, transformation, the death card. So your person is going through changes and evolving into their higher self, out of that toxic energy, out of that lower vibrational energy. I don't know what the hell happened to the other cards. They all went flying off the table, so I have to go find them. But yes! And if you were connected to someone in Seven of Swords energy, and you kept giving, Queen of Cups, they're never, like, in a dynamic like that, that person can't change. They need to, like, I hate to say it, but they kind of need to lose you in order to change. Because if you keep giving to them and you keep repeating negative patterns, there's not going to be change, if that makes sense. So we have illusions and we have falling for you. So this person, it's interesting because there's definitely mirroring here. They're seeing through their own illusions. They're seeing through their own, I feel like you could have been connected to someone in this channeled message deck. I'm seeing the card about perception. I only saw what I wanted to see, or I could only see what I wanted to see. I could only see my perception. And I feel like right now they're going through changes, they're evolving, and they're seeing through those illusions. And we also have consumed by thoughts of you. Consumed. So you're definitely pulling on their energy. And on the bottom, we have soul ties. I feel so connected to you. We also have a card about manipulation. So they could be seeing through their own manipulation. Interesting. I laid out your cards very differently, but whatever. All right. So I'm going to get channeled messages from this person. So let's see what this person wants to say to you. Actually, do you know what I want to do first? Divine Feminine. Fucking right. Please be patient with me because these decks, I have a really hard time reading the book because there's a lot of words I don't know how to pronounce. Oh, look, my wind chime just went off. So maybe you're cleansing your energy. Maybe I'll hit it for you. So this is a Divine Feminine deck about healing the Divine Feminine. And we both have Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine energies within us. And it's not about gender. We have both. But I want to pull a Divine Feminine card for you for advice. And I want to pull a Divine Masculine card for them for advice. And like I said, I'll try my best at reading the card. And unfortunately, there is like a super sexual one in this deck. And if it comes out, I probably shouldn't read it. All right, not because of me, but because of YouTube. YouTube is... Anyway, let's get you a card. So For the divine feminine, what advice does this divine feminine need? What advice does the divine feminine need? We have Walu. And on the bottom we have Thetis. I don't know how to pronounce any of these. I don't know. This looks like it could have something to do with the inner child. Speaking of inner child, this morning I felt very called to I felt very called to get painting stuff, which I haven't painted since I was in high school. This is useless information if you want to fast forward. But when I was in high school, I used to paint, and I remember I painted a sunset, and I was like not a painter. And the school wanted to put it in the office, and I haven't painted since. And this morning, out of nowhere, I was like, I want to paint. So I ordered something to paint. So once I paint it, I'll show it to you. I got a paint by numbers. But just doing something like that is a really good way to connect with your inner child. So I just wanted to mention it. Connect with your inner child. That's magic. Because right before I came to this reading, I was supposed to start this reading like an hour ago, but I was looking at painting by numbers kits. And when I finish it, I'm totally going to show it to you. So, connect with your inner child to access your past hurts and current joys. The mythology of Australia's first peoples, known as the Dreaming, dates back 65,000 years. Oh, I should show you the card, not the book. It centers around the belief that Earth is continually being created by dreaming spirits, the physical embodiments of the animals, people, and various aspects of the land. In the dreaming of I don't mean any disrespect if I don't know how to say some of these words. Yolngu people, it's Yolngu. Walu is heralded as sun woman, and you're in the energy of the sun. How perfect is that? Walu and her daughter Bara journeyed through the sky daily, spreading heat wherever they passed. One day, Walu realized their combined heat not only provided warmth, but scorched the lands, making the earth too hot. Walu made the difficult choice to send her daughter back east while she continued journeying to the west to bring back the sun and ensure the earth's fertility persevered. The message: your inner child is the gateway to accessing your deepest emotions and richest joys. Due to the nature of living in a dual plane designed for learning and growth, humans are like children. Even when fully grown, you are here in a state of spiritual amnesia to develop wisdom while seeking your needs to be met, just like your child counterpart. Unfortunately, adults are not treated with the same level of gentleness and understanding as children. If you struggle to love yourself, practice the art of self-soothing via the medium of the inner child. It can feel easier to speak with your inner child with tenderness when you are not used to positive self-talk. When you are scared, place your hand over the heart and say, I know you are scared and that's okay. I'm going to protect you. I'm asking you to be brave and do this scary thing because you will feel so proud of yourself after. Before I continue, I just have to mention something that I talk about a lot, which is you could have, very common in Counterpart connections, you could have grown up in a household where you were treated exactly the way this low vibrational person was treating you. And as a child, we can't just pack our bags and leave. We have to learn how to walk on eggshells. We have to learn how to people please, to avoid conflict, to not anger them, to earn love. But as adults, we can save our own inner child by not putting up with that behavior, setting boundaries, not accepting less than we deserve, if that makes sense. And that's what this is reminding me of. Because that part that says, I'm asking you to be brave and do this scary thing. So sometimes it's very scary to put up boundaries. Sometimes it's very scary to walk away, to jump out of that tower. But think about your inner child. Think about it like if you have children, think about it like that. Think about protecting a child. You need to protect your inner child from accepting less than you deserve, from whatever was happening over here, right? So it might be easier for you to put your inner child first, although I think for a lot of you, you've already walked away. Anyway, let's get back into it. When you feel sad, use the words, I know you are disappointed and so sad right now, and you are allowed to be. I will hold space for this feeling. Eventually, your inner child will feel so supported that this practice will create an automated feeling of safety. If you did not have a positive childhood home, consciously choosing to become your parent, that's what I was just going to say, or that's what I was saying about be the parent to your inner child. Becoming your parent can assist you with working through your pain of the past. And I've been working on reparenting my inner child for years, which is exactly why I bought myself that painting stuff today. Anyway, so go do something nice for your inner child today, okay? Whether that's like coloring. I just think coloring is such a nice way to connect with your inner child. And it's very, I find that I really reflect when I'm coloring. It doesn't have to be coloring. It could be swimming. It could be getting yourself a skip rope, something, action figures, something that you enjoyed as a child. One of the first things I did was when I awakened, I started buying all these little figurines because when I was a child, I absolutely loved figurines. So I do have an obsession with black and white ones, I'll admit it. But just treat your inner child to something. Working with the inner child can also be a direct source of experiencing joy. Part of the experience that Earth has to offer is enjoying the pleasures of creation. Be present with your inner child and make time to partake in activities for the sake of joy, not just for productivity. Yes, go have some fun today. Okay, let's keep going. I'm just gonna see if I want to, I said one card. So I just want to see if I should read you this. No, I'm not going to read you that one. I'm not keeping secrets from you. My guides are saying no to that one. So now we're going to get one for the divine masculine. And I'm just going to get one for them. All right, so what do you need to know about this divine masculine? What do you need to know about this divine masculine? What do you need to know about this divine masculine? I feel like that one came out recently. I don't know how to pronounce it. Sudhodana? I don't know why, but my guides are telling me to get a different one. Why is that? Show up as a source of emotional support, relinquish emotional responsibility, and step into holding space for the benefit of yourself and others. So, Okay, so I'm not going to read this whole thing because right away I was hearing that's not the right card. But there is something that I want to talk about with this card, and it is about holding emotional space for another person. This person maybe had a really hard time holding emotional space for you because for how they felt about you, the Two of Pentacles came out, and just the energy that I was seeing, the Seven of Swords, the low vibrational energy. I even mentioned at one point in the reading, like seeing someone cry and just like, I'm an empath. When I see someone cry, I want to cry, right? But I was getting like an opposite energy there. I was getting the energy of like, you could have been very emotional and maybe they didn't know what to do with those emotions because they could have been lacking emotional maturity. And this card is about, it does touch on that. But what's really interesting is I'm going to read this one. The best way to become a holder of space for another person's hard times is to face your shadows. So this person maybe couldn't hold space for your emotions. When you become sufficient at facing your darkness and sitting in discomfort, you can comfortably do the same for another without feeling drained. So this could have been someone who didn't know how to handle their emotions, so then they didn't know how to handle yours. And it says, knowing that periods of darkness and difficulty serve a purpose in the bigger picture can help you not run from your own and other people's shadows. So remember I said this person wasn't running from you, they were running from their shadows. And that's really that, again, my guides were like, that's not the right card. But I did want to mention that one thing about that. So what card are you what card is this person supposed to get then? I had a similar thing happen when I shuffled yours. A card flipped out and I heard not that one, so I kept shuffling, like it flipped out and flipped back in, and I heard not that one, and then that one came out, and I think that one's really relevant. So we have Dionysus. I don't know how to pronounce that either. Oh dear. So this one's about something could be holding back this person from intimacy. Oh, this one's all about, I can't read this. This one's all about sex. So this person might have a problem with intimacy, especially emotional intimacy. Projecting an image, I can't read all of this just because YouTube's very particular about this kind of stuff. But projecting an image of emotional restraint and elusiveness. There's a subtle contest to see who can maintain the most withdrawn or most emotionally attached, and how you were feeling about this person, the Four of Pentacles, like they were holding back from you. So I feel like this person had a really hard time showing up emotionally, or they had a hard time with emotional intimacy. And it talks about past rejection and abandonment wounds that make you fearful of intimacy. So this person definitely had a fear of intimacy, a fear of commitment. And I think that's what they're supposed to be looking at right now, if that makes sense. Gosh darn it. Well then. All right, channeled messages. I have to mention something else. This card mentioned a short fling could bring on more emotional intimacy and feelings and connection than one that they were in for years. So for some of you, like a lot of counterparts, it could have been very short-lived, where they had never felt like this before, even though it was so short-lived. We have frequency. I can't stop thinking about you. We are aligning on the same frequency vibration. Extroverted, moving towards you with confidence, ready to show you how much they love you. That reminds me of that Three of Wands. So they need some time to work up the confidence. Yes, we have divine feminine. Yes. You're a goddess who healed me and transformed me to my higher self. I want to say is transforming them. I think they're on their way. We have introverted. I know I don't say this enough, but I truly do love you. Fear of intimacy, fear of emotional expression, fear of emotions. Illusion. Lies and illusions held them back from seeing the truth. And right now they're seeing through those illusions. You were definitely with somebody that was, could have seemed quite arrogant. I allowed my pride and ego to get in the way of our connection. Agreement. Yeah. You both made an agreement to focus on yourselves, then come back together as one. And I'm not talking, like maybe for some of you, you had a verbal agreement where you were like, you know what, this isn't working. I think we both need to work on ourselves and reconnect in a few months or whatever. But for a lot of you, this isn't about a verbal agreement. This is about a soul agreement. And that's what I talk about when I talk about soul contracts. So it doesn't matter how much love you gave. It doesn't matter. Again, it's not a reflection of you or your worth. It's in your soul contract that some of these things needed to be healed and surrendered before the two of you could come back together. Wish granted. You're my purpose fulfilled. You're my sun, moon, stars. You're my everything. So we have thoughts. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't think about you. You're the one for me. We have untrustworthy. I've made mistakes in the past. Will you ever trust me again? They could have lied to you. Psychic. Your intuition scares me. How much do you really know about me? Love offer. I want to offer you the world and promise you'll have the best version of me. And fantasizing. I fantasize about our future together, our homes, kids, vacations. I want it all. And then on the bottom, we do have, I am not letting you go. You will hear from me. Right. You will hear from me very soon. Don't give up on me. And we have twin flame. Listen, head over heart. That's really interesting to me because I kept talking about cognitive dissonance with you. And if you were connected to someone whose mind was saying no, mental pain, you could have been mirroring that, where your heart was saying, oh, this is my twin flame. If I'm just more patient, if I just whatever. But your head could have been like, this isn't right. Your Queen of Swords could have been trying to come out. Anyway. All right. I'm sending you lots of love and light, my friend, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.